Hello, my friends. Welcome to Learning English Through Books. I'm James, and today we are exploring one of the most inspiring and most powerful stories ever told. We are going to talk about David and Goliath from the Bible. This is a story about courage. This is a story about believing in yourself when everyone else thinks you cannot win. But before we begin, let me ask you a question. Have you ever faced something that seemed impossible? Have you ever felt like you were too small or too weak to fight against something much bigger than you? Because if you have felt this way, then this story is for you. Leave a comment below and tell me, have you ever faced a giant in your life? What was your giant? I would love to hear from you. This story is different from the ones we have explored before. This is not a story about darkness and despair. This is a story about hope and victory. It is about a young man who trusts himself and his God when everyone around him thinks he is crazy. In this episode, I will explain this story in simple English. I will help you understand the events and the deeper meaning behind them. I will show you why this story has inspired millions of people for thousands of years. At the beginning, the English will be very easy. Then slowly, it will become more difficult. This way, you will grow as you listen. Now take a deep breath. This is an exciting story, and it will fill you with hope. Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Kingdom of Israel. To understand David's story, we must first understand the world in which he lives. David lives in ancient Israel. Israel is a small country surrounded by enemies. The people of Israel are often at war. They must defend their land from people who want to take it from them. War is a constant part of their lives. At this time, Israel is ruled by a king named Saul. King Saul is a strong leader and a good warrior. He has fought many battles and won many victories. But now something is happening that frightens him and his army. The Philistines are the enemies of Israel. The Philistines are a powerful people with a strong army. They have many soldiers and weapons and training. The Philistines want to conquer Israel and take the land for themselves. Right now, the two armies are facing each other across a valley. The Israeli army is on one side. The Philistine army is on the other side. Both sides are preparing for a great battle. Both sides know that this battle will be important and that many people will die. But before they start the battle, something happens that changes everything. Chapter 2. Who is David? David is a young man, probably around 16 or 17 years old. He's not a soldier. He's not a warrior. He's a shepherd. A shepherd is a person who takes care of sheep and protects them from danger. David is the youngest son of Jesse. Jesse has many sons, but David is the youngest. The older brothers are all soldiers in the army, fighting in the war. David is too young to be a soldier, so he stays home with the sheep. But David is different from other shepherds. David is brave. David is strong. David is intelligent. David has deep faith. Faith means believing in God with your whole heart. David loves music. He plays a musical instrument called a harp, and he is very good at it. He sings songs and writes songs about God and about his feelings. Music is very important to him. David is also a fighter. When wild animals come to attack the sheep, David fights them. Once, a lion attacked the sheep. David fought the lion and killed it. Once, a bear attacked the sheep. David fought the bear and killed it. David is brave. He is strong. He protects what is his. But David is still young. He is still small. He does not have the training that soldiers have or the experience that warriors have. He is just a shepherd boy. Chapter 3. The Appearance of Goliath. Something incredible happens next. Something that will change David's life forever. The Philistines send out a man. This man is not ordinary. This man is a giant. His name is Goliath. Goliath is enormous. He is very, very tall. He is probably 9 feet tall, maybe even taller. Imagine a man who is almost 3 meters tall. Goliath is not just tall. He is strong and muscular. He is a warrior who has trained his whole life to be a soldier. He has fought in many battles and killed many men. He is famous. Everyone knows about Goliath. Goliath wears armor. Armor is protection for your body made from metal. His armor is heavy and weighs a lot. He wears a helmet on his head. He carries a large shield and a spear. His spear is huge. It is like a tree trunk with a sharp iron tip. Goliath walks out in front of both armies. He stands between them and looks at the Israeli army. He laughs at them. He is not afraid. He thinks they are weak and small. Goliath makes an offer. He will fight one man from the Israeli army. 1 against 1. If the Israeli man wins, the Philistines will leave and go home. If Goliath wins, the Israelis will become servants of the Philistines and lose their freedom. This is a big and dangerous offer. But many soldiers are afraid. They look at Goliath and see how big and strong he is. They see his armor and weapons. They are afraid. No one steps forward. Day after day, Goliath comes out and challenges the Israeli army. Day after day, no one answers. No one is brave enough or strong enough. The Israeli army is losing their courage and losing their hope. Chapter 4. David's Arrival. David's father Jesse is worried about his older sons. He has not heard from them for a while, so he sends David to the army camp to bring them food and to bring news from home. David brings bread and cheese and other food. David travels to the army camp. He arrives and finds his brothers. He gives them the food. He asks them how they are doing. While David is at the camp, Goliath comes out again and makes his challenge. He shouts at the Israeli army and mocks them. He asks, "Why are you afraid? Why doesn't anyone fight me?" David hears this and listens carefully. He looks at the Israeli army and sees that they are afraid and discouraged. He sees that no one is stepping forward. David asks a question. He asks, "Who is this man? Why is everyone so afraid of him? Why doesn't someone fight him?" The soldiers tell David about Goliath. They tell him how big he is, how strong he is, how many men he has killed. They tell him that no one is brave enough to fight him. But David thinks differently. David looks at Goliath and does not see a giant that cannot be defeated. David sees a man who is mocking God. David sees a problem that needs to be solved. David sees an opportunity to protect his people. Chapter 5. David's Challenge. David goes to King Saul. David tells the king that he will fight Goliath. David says, "I will fight this giant. I will defeat him." King Saul looks at David and is surprised. David is just a young boy with no training and no weapons. David has no experience as a soldier. How can David fight Goliath, a man who has fought in wars? King Saul says, "You cannot fight Goliath. You're too young. You're too small. You have no experience. This is a man who has fought in wars. This is a giant. You will die." But David is not afraid. David explains to the king about the lion and the bear. David tells the king, "I killed a lion. I killed a bear. I protected my sheep. I can protect Israel too. I can kill this giant." David says something very important. The Lord will help me. God will protect me. God will give me strength. I am not fighting alone. God is fighting with me. King Saul listens to David and is amazed by his faith. King Saul believes in David. King Saul says, "Go and fight. May God be with you." King Saul gives David armor and a helmet and a sword. David puts on the armor but feels strange. The armor is heavy and uncomfortable. David takes off the armor and says he does not need it. David takes a stick and his sling instead. A sling is a weapon that can throw stones. David has used a sling many times to protect his sheep and is very good with it. Chapter 6. The Battle. David faces the giant. David walks toward Goliath alone. He's walking across the valley while Goliath stands waiting. Goliath is huge and towers above everyone around him. Goliath sees David coming and looks at him. Goliath laughs because he thinks it is funny. A young boy is coming to fight him. A shepherd boy with a sling. This is not a real warrior. This is just a boy. Goliath mocks David. Goliath says, "Why are you coming to fight me? Do you think you can defeat me? I am a warrior and have killed many men. You are just a boy. I will kill you easily." But David does not listen to Goliath's words. David believes in himself and believes in God. David says, "You come to me with a sword and a spear, but I come to you in the name of God. God will give me victory." David puts a stone in his sling. David swings the sling, and the stone flies through the air. The stone hits Goliath on the forehead and goes deep into his head. Goliath falls down. Goliath is dead. The battle is over. David has defeated Goliath. The giant is dead. A young boy has killed a giant. Everyone is amazed and shocked. The Israeli army is excited. The Philistine army is confused and afraid. They run away. They leave. The Israeli army wins. Israel is safe. Chapter 7. The meaning of the story. What it teaches us. This story has many layers of meaning. It teaches us many important lessons about life. First lesson, believe in yourself. David believed in himself. Even when everyone else was afraid, David was not afraid. David believed that he could do something that no one else could do. This belief gave him courage and strength. Second lesson, belief in something bigger is powerful. David did not just believe in himself. David believed in God. David said that God would help him and give him victory. This faith made David stronger and braver. When you believe in something bigger than yourself, you become stronger. Third lesson, size does not determine the outcome. Goliath was huge and strong with armor and weapons. David was small and young with only a sling and a stone. But David won. This teaches us that size does not matter. Intelligence matters. Courage matters. Faith matters. These things are more important than size or strength. Fourth lesson, being different can be an advantage. David did not fight like a soldier. David did not use a sword. David used a sling and his shepherd skills. David did something that no one expected. This unexpected approach helped him win. Fifth lesson, courage comes from preparation. David was brave, but his bravery came from more than just feelings. David had experience. David had killed a lion and a bear. David had used a sling many times. David was prepared. His courage came from his experience and preparation. Sixth lesson, fear is a choice. The other soldiers were afraid of Goliath, but David was not afraid. David saw the same giant and the same danger. David chose not to be afraid. David chose to believe that he could win. Fear is something we can control. Chapter 8. The language of the story. How the Bible tells this. The Bible tells this story in a beautiful way. The language is simple but powerful. The Bible uses dialogue. Goliath speaks. David speaks. King Saul speaks. These conversations help us understand what the characters are thinking and feeling. The Bible uses descriptions. It describes how big Goliath is and what he is wearing. It describes his weapons. These descriptions help us imagine the scene and understand why everyone is afraid. The Bible uses action. The story moves quickly. Things happen. David arrives at the camp. David volunteers. David fights. David wins. The action keeps us interested and reading. The Bible uses contrast. David is young. Goliath is old and experienced. David is small. Goliath is huge. David has faith. Goliath has pride. These contrasts make the story more interesting and help us understand the differences between the characters. Chapter 9. Why it still matters today. This story is told and retold. This story is taught to children. This story is studied by adults. This story is quoted and remembered. Why does this story matter so much? First, it is a story about the impossible becoming possible. Everyone thought David would lose. Everyone thought Goliath would win. But David won. This teaches us that sometimes things that seem impossible can happen. Sometimes the underdog can win. Second, it is a story about courage. David shows us what real courage looks like. Real courage is not being without fear. Real courage is being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. Real courage is facing something that seems too big and saying, "I will try." Third, it is a story about faith. David's faith in God is what gives him strength. David believes that God is with him. This faith is more powerful than Goliath's armor and weapons. Fourth, it is a story that we can all relate to. All of us face giants in our lives. Our giants might not be a man named Goliath. Our giants might be fears or problems or challenges that seem too big. David's story shows us that we can defeat our giants. Fifth, it is a story about preparation and opportunity. David was prepared. He had experience using a sling and fighting wild animals. When the opportunity came, David was ready. This teaches us that we should always be preparing and learning. Chapter 10. The Lasting Legacy. After this victory, David becomes a hero. David becomes famous. The people of Israel love David. David eventually becomes the king of Israel and is remembered as a great king and warrior. But David is also remembered for other things. David writes many songs called Psalms. The Psalms are in the Bible and are very beautiful. The Psalms express deep feelings. Many people read the Psalms today and find comfort in them. David's story is told in books and movies and paintings. Artists have made art about David and Goliath for hundreds of years. The story continues to inspire people everywhere. David's story teaches us that small people can do big things. David's story teaches us that one person can make a difference. Even today, over 2,000 years later, people still read about David and Goliath. People still tell the story to their children. People still find hope and lessons in the story. When we face our own challenges and our own fears, we can think of David. We can remember that he was small and young. We can remember that he believed in himself and in God. We can remember that he won. And maybe we can find the courage to face our own challenges too. If you loved this episode, please subscribe to our channel. New episodes come out every day, each exploring a classic book that will improve your English and teach you about life. Also share this with a friend who loves reading. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm James, and until next time, stay curious and keep growing. Bye for now. Bye for now.